In this lesson, we'll learn how to work with animation layers and animation clips in the Tracks editor. Let's say if we wanted to take our entire animation and merge that down into one animation clip to work within the Tracks editor. Well, if we tried to do this process now, what would happen is that we'd only get the result of our base animation and none of our layers because they would first need to be merged down. Now, before we even do that, if we're working with any type of parent switches on our rigs, for example, if we were to select this hat and look at the follow switch, you see that it switches between following the head to following the world and then back to the head. If you're working with anything like that and have actually keyed that, what you'd want to do is make sure that you lock down all of those keys before you merge. Otherwise, you're going to get some nasty offsets. So on frame 60, I'm going to go there and press Shift W, Shift E to lock in, translate, and rotate keys, and right click and key the follow switch set to the head. And then we can go to frame 94 at the end and again press Shift W and Shift E and set another follow key. We'll more than likely need to do the same for the character's hand. So again on frame 113, press Shift W and Shift E, key the follow. Okay. And I'll also set a key on frame 112, that same hand, okay, just to make sure it's going to stay there. And then go into the beginning of the animation, okay, when we switch from the world to the hat. On frame 58, let's go there, press Shift W and Shift E, key the follow, and that should be good. Alright, so now we're ready to merge everything down with all of our layers selected. We'll go ahead and use the same merge layer options that we used in the last lesson. So we'll give Maya a second to compute everything. It's a great way to develop patience. So we'll go ahead and wait just a few more moments. And now we have everything merged into just our base level. Okay, we'll just double check to make sure everything's fine. Alright, great. Now, what we'd also want to do if we had any pre-existing character sets and we tried to make our clip, watch what would happen. I'm going to go ahead and go to Character, go to Set Current Character Set, and choose the Watchman node that holds all of our keys. If we're working with any pre-existing character sets and try to make the clip, notice what's going to happen. We'll go to Window, Animation Editors, Tracks Editor. And then we'll just make a default animation clip. So just double check your settings, reset them if you need to, and create a clip. Notice it's not going to create the entire clip, okay? Because, again, that character set was there, the connections were there before we merged. So instead, your workflow would want to be to first, after you merge, go through and just delete your character set. In this case, I just deleted that Watchman character set. Then you can select all of your controls again. Then you can go ahead and create a new character set. So I'll just reset the settings here. We can call this Watchman 01, and we'll just use all keyable. So we grab everything. Go ahead and choose Create Character Set. And now we can come in and create a clip that holds all of this animation. So, going back to Window, Animation Editors, Tracks Editor, okay, with the Watchman clip selected, we can now choose Create Animation Clip, and notice it grabs everything. So let's go ahead and just scrub the animation, and notice everything is playing back just fine. I'll even minimize that to show you. Close out the animation editor. So hitting play, here's what we are left with. Great. Now, if you're ever blending between clips, okay, what you'd want to make sure, if you don't want any type of relative changes to your animation, that selecting the clip, going to the animation editor, or excuse me, the attribute editor, you'd want to make sure that underneath channel offsets, that you have everything set to all absolute. Okay. If some of these are set to relative, we may get some undesirable changes to our animation. And we have a kit that goes over the Tracks editor more descriptively, but being that this is an animation layer training kit, we're not going to discuss that. But that's how we can work with layers and the tracks editor. And if you're wondering, yes, we can still go in and add animation on top of these animation clips. So if we wanted to, we can select the character's head, create a clip, maybe go to, let's say, frame 14 or 114, Shift E, go to frame 120, add a slight change to the character's head position, press Shift E, and there we have it. Okay, excellent. All right, and of course the popping is simply because of the type of basically where we've set our keys. So if I were to just undo that, go back to 120, or actually undo before we selected the base animation, go to frame 115 or 114, it doesn't really matter, just wanted to show you how this works. Okay, we'll add the offset, and there we have it with no popping. Alright, so again, that's how we can work with the animation layers and the tracks editor. And what's nice is that after we've made those clips, we can still add changes using animation layers. So this gives us a whole lot of control. And that brings us to the end of animation layers in Maya. Over the past few hours, we obtained the fundamentals of Maya's innovative and robust animation layering system and learned practical ways to utilize it creatively to enhance our work in less than a fraction of the time it normally would take without this tool. Together we attained a sound foundation of layering animation in Maya to later build upon, and we did it in a fun way. To continue your education and expand your skill set, I'd encourage you to visit us online where you'll find all of the latest announcements. Built on educational values, Digital Tutors started with a simple vision in mind to help new and experienced artists become more productive by learning new software and production techniques. We've been a leading online resource for free video-based training and have been instrumental in aiding millions of artists on a daily basis. Learn more about the multitude of training solutions we offer for various areas of the production pipeline at digitaltutors.com.